What's up? This is the Experts Podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jake. We're experts who know everything,
but we don't agree on any of it. Welcome to another episode of the Experts Pod.
Well, I think it's only right that we address the elephant in, the room that the elephant is in.
Do you think an elephant can fit in my apartment?
Definitely not, but we got two little kitty cats sitting in some of the experts' equipment, but that's okay because their comfort is priority.
Is priority here at the Experts Pod. I actually like to think they're my dogs, but my fiance doesn't like that. She's really trying to sell me on the idea of cats. And to be fair to her, I have been sold. But once in a while, I look at them and I'm just like, that's a good dog.
Well, they kind of act like dogs. I mean, they can fetch and sit and, sorry about that, by the way. I'm not in my normal space. Normally, I live in the Experts Pod studio and I'm aware of my surroundings at every moment. But here you may see some missteps.
Did you just bang your elbow against all my trophies?
Yeah, that was...
Tell the listeners what all those awards are for. Well, it says it over there on one of them. I think on both of them.
Looks like I hit your 2011 Jazz Band Award, which...
Yeah, I have an award for jazz. Do you guys?
Does
literally anybody listening to this or in this room have a jazz award?
I cannot say that I have a Jazz Band Award. And you know what? You should be proud. 2011 was a good year for jazz. That's a prime vintage of jazz, I would say.
You know what happened that year?
What happened?
In the jazz world? Several awards I won.
Oh, what? Yeah. Okay, let's see. There's a few more. Is that best saxophone player?
Section, but yeah.
Oh, like section.
The five of us collectively.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, let's get into the pod. This is a good one. This is I think today we have a pretty extraordinary pod.
Yeah, one might say extraordinary and extreme.
It's an extremely interesting topic to explore today,
especially as experts
who both have ex-girlfriends.
Sure. Yeah.
Probably because they didn't agree with us on what we're about to talk about.
Yeah. No. This was a date one question for me. And
absolutely.
I'm sure it was for you.
We're going to dive into the subgenre.
We're going to explain.
We're going to explain the subgenre of maybe the coolest.
Sorry, the exterior genre.
The exterior genre of the world of extreme sports.
Wow.
I have lost girlfriends because they didn't think this was cool enough.
Exclam. I'm sorry.
You're very good at this.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is going to be a new experience because we're going to try to get to the bottom of what might be the most extreme sport that exists.
The way Nick and I kind of agreed to go about this, again...
Which was a rare sight, by the way.
Yeah. It definitely something that doesn't happen too often in our exchanges. But the main thing, the main rules we sort of set about were we're going to come to the table, and until we agree on what the most extreme sport is, we're not going to leave. We're going to stay at this table until we can actually finally come to an agreement. And
do you expect that we will?
I do not expect it, but we can go into this with exceptionally open minds. Okay,
and let's expand on that.
Okay, so basically what we're going to do is, since Nick is the resident idea holder for this idea, we're going to let him start. And if I agree, then that's it. Done. We're good on the podcast. And, and if I don't, then I'm going to come in with the idea that I'm sure he is also thinking is the most extreme sport. And if we can't agree on any of those, then we're just going to keep going until we sort of land on it, naturally.
We seemed to start off on a good path here, on the right foot. We aren't in a feud, so we may just this may be a smooth episode in which we just sort of tend to agree on things, but let's explore that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just start with possibly the most extreme sport in my mind that I've experienced. And it's kind of like a whole category of sports. Weapon sports. So we're talking about target archery.
Okay.
We're talking about darts. We're talking about skeet shooting. Basically anything that where you take weapons of war, which is an extreme concept, and we just transition that into fun.
Yeah.
That's extreme.
Okay.
Laser tag, dude. Come on. Does it get more extreme than that?
Yeah. So let's explore that for a sec. So it's a Saturday with your friends. It's your boy's birthday party. You got that pizza, that famous laser tag za, dude. And nothing like it. And you get your vest on. You get that unnecessary safety instruction that nobody ever wants to hear, and then you're unleashed into the dark minefield of laser tag. And what do you see before you but the enemy team? 7-year-old children.
And how old are we from the POV of this?
We're like in our 30s. Yeah, we're
it's just present day.
Yeah, present day. What's more extreme than catching those little children? A bunch of things, because I disagree with this. This is not true, but expand upon it. Maybe you can.
Well, I mean, first of all, like, does it get more extreme than listening to some stoner teenager explain, like, while he's toked up, he's trying to tell you rules? Is that not ironic? I mean, come on, guys. We are simulating war with all of these weapon sports. Mm-hmm. How is that not? Does it get more extreme than simulations of extreme situations?
Well, here's the thing. I do agree that, swinging a sword at someone, while it is anything but peaceful, is it the most extreme? I think
Wait, sorry. What's the name of this sport?
Fencing.
That's a sport? People build fences for game?
Yeah. They use modern war tools to build fences. They take, like a war hammer, and then they strike it into the ground with the force of 1,000,
What's the challenge? Are they racing? Like first one to get up that white picket?
I'm not a fencing expert, but I'm assuming you can only assume that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they must be racing. It's a race.
Yeah, it's a race.
Okay. All right,
but anyway, just going back to what we were talking about, it is exactly what you just said. It is a simulation. It's not real extreme. Nobody's really in extreme danger. Nobody's expecting to die. That's really what extreme is all about.
Risking life.
Yes.
Like the expectations that you go into this extreme sport thinking or risking the fact that you might die. So, okay. So before we leave the weaponry sports category, airsoft, you can die.
Dude, no, you get welts with those. Maybe you lose an eye, but you don't die.
You can't die from playing airsoft.
Show me once ever where someone has died from either of those things.
Imagine you're playing airsoft, like, in your neighborhood on the streets with your boys. Cop comes, thinks it's a real gun, shoots you dead.
Oh, I see. Well, that's
pretty extreme.
That's a completely different game.
What's it called?
It's called the game.
The Game of Life.
The Game of Life.
Is that Hasbro?
it's Hasbro. It's they're licensed by Hasbro. So I mean, look, 9 times out of 10, that can happen at any point in life, and that's regardless of the game, you know. And I would argue that I'm just not going to agree that this is the most extreme sport.
Okay, I disagree with your disagreement, but go ahead.
Well, now you have to move on. So you
God, I really thought we were starting out this episode strong. Look at us. We can't even get through one point. 1 point.
Let's take a look real quick at some other sports, because I think you really threw a softball for your war games.
I mean, air softball?
War games, dude. Are you serious? Check it.
Okay.
Mind games.
All right. I'm open to this.
Name anything more extreme than Sudoku, chess, checkers. I mean, come on, man. We're talking psychological warfare at that point. That can kill you. That can take years off your life. It can just having to read these chess books, these openers, these closers, these in-betweens, these, you know, Sudoku blocks. Like, come on. You're not telling me you've never been on a plane and you got Sudoku in front of you and you're like, how do I play Sudoku? And then you're on the plane and you're like, this is eating away at me. And you try to fill out the boxes and you start to do it and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. And they will eat away at you until you lose years and years from your life, actual years. And then you die an early death. Mind games, dude.
Okay. Mind games are incredibly extreme, and maybe that's just because we don't really have the endurance to play them.
Yeah.
And there was one you actually forgot that is more challenging, more gut-eating, more disturbing, one that's going to haunt you in the middle of the night. It's harder to play and understand than chess, checkers, and Sudoku combined.
Okay.
Sequence. Yeah. Now, but here's the thing. I do agree that mind games are incredibly extreme. Incredibly. Only the most extreme of human beings in the history of humanity can tackle them.
Yeah.
But are they sports?
I think.
And isn't the conversation extreme sports? What's the most extreme sport?
The sport of the mind. Aren't sports about like using your muscles in interesting, creative ways? And isn't the mind anything but just a muscle?
Oh, damn, dude. Because I was going to say, I always understood sports as the combination of the brain and physicality. But you just found a loophole in that, which is the brain is a muscle that operates in physical ways.
Plus, I mean, like, look at something like chess. Chess has gotten really, big. Like, a lot of the pros now, I don't know if you've heard about this, but, they got to do some really impressive physical feats to win these games. Not only do they have to use their minds, they have to use their asses.
How?
All right, so there's this guy who his strategy, which is like really brilliant if you think about it, because again, he used his mind to come up with this strategy. He took a vibrating butt plug and like amazingly, he was able to shove this thing up his ass, and then he was able to play the best chess player in the world and beat him because of this plug vibrating, stimulating his brain into having new moves.
And so that's how mind games are considered physical sports.
Yeah, I guess you're right. After I said that out loud, maybe it's not the best.
Well, let's just clear this up and then we'll move on. I'm looking at the dictionary definition of sport.
Okay.
So we're going to clear this up right now. The name your dad calls you by that makes you feel a total loser.
Oh, yeah.
And then he slaps your ass.
Yeah, I guess this doesn't really fit that. I mean, it kind of fits it, because of the butt plug, but it's not really quite there. So
we agree that it's extreme, and we agree that it's not the most extreme sport.
just like war games, that's where yes. Okay, so let's move on.
All right. So here's my next argument for possible most extreme sport: fishing. And here's why.
Okay.
It's a really, really, really boring thing to do.
Oh,
And
okay.
in some way, that requires some mental endurance. But here's an even more poignant reason why I think that it's the most extreme thing. As someone who's a card-carrying animal lover, we've already established this. I kind of just think fishing is mean, which nearly rhymes with extreme.
Oh man, that's a good point.
And I'm not really sure you can argue that.
I really can't argue it, but it still doesn't hit the most extreme. And I think you would agree with that because it's
the most exmean.
it is the most extreme. I'll agree with that. You know what? How about we just sort of rapid fire a few and then see if we can land on something that maybe we sort of agree with.
Okay.
Table tennis. Think about it. You have to set up a table every time you're going to play. You have to make sure the nets are right. What's more extreme than setting up a table? I mean, we do it every time we record a podcast.
A game where you can carry a paddle in your pocket and take it all the way to the Olympics? That's pretty extreme.
It is, but when you say that you can put it into your pocket, yeah. Okay, all right, hit me with another.
Track. And field.
Okay.
Running. See, here's the thing. Here's why I think running is so extreme because...
Do you actually?
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to break
okay.
it down. Runners specifically are extreme because, let's be honest, running is half of like 90% of all sports. Oh. They're just doing one thing that all other sport people do. What are sport people called? Sport people.
Yeah.
They're just doing like... Sporters. They're just doing like one thing that sporters do while these sporters are also doing other things. And I think that there's something like noble about being like, I do like half of what you do and I do it for a little bit longer and they own it. And that's extreme. That's extreme, but it's not most extreme. Okay.
All right. How about this? Baseball. Okay. You sit. What do they call the thing where you're sitting just outside of the parts where you're not playing the game? Where
the dugout.
The dugout. Okay, you're sitting in the dugout.
Do you know why it's called a dugout?
No, why?
I don't know.
Oh, you're sitting in the dugout for whatever. You're not playing the game because a big part of baseball is not playing the game. Pretty extreme, if you ask me. But then the most extreme part of baseball is the dip.
Yeah, dude, dip. I agree.
It's so bad for you. You're literally so extreme that you're willing to.
I'm sorry. You said badass wrong.
Oh, sorry. It's so badass. Big Dip, please give us a sponsorship.
Dip has to be maybe the most extreme thing that people do with their mouths.
Yeah,
it has to be. It's so sick.
Is it a sport though? I don't know. I guess considering that's the part of the game where you're not playing the game.
Yeah. Well, the sport of it is the person who can dip and chew for the longest without getting cancer. Like,
do you think most baseball sporters are like they're just trying to get past the like actual playing of the game to get to the dip part?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's on their mind. They get to wake up and they're like, I got practice today, but at least I'll have dip waiting for me.
Yeah.
in the dugout.
They're like, let's go throw some pitches. Let's go hit some balls. But after that, get some nice dip.
Dude, give me that chew. Oh, speaking of chew, have you ever seen the kids version of chew?
Oh, it's so good. Where you just grab a handful. You know,
Big
whoever
League Chew.
thought
A genius.
whoever
dude.
thought of that is like genius. Totally does
You
not.
literally
encourage bad
open the
behavior.
bag and it's all in strings. It's toddler chew.
Yeah, somebody said we're gonna make toddler chew. We're gonna string cheese this gum, and we're gonna sell millions. And then we're also gonna add some green apple flavor, and then the kids are gonna go nuts. And that's pretty extreme. Maybe the tobacco companies are the most extreme sport, but
Damn, advertising.
you know what?
Yeah, that's extreme.
You know what? I mean, do you have any others?
Yeah, let's talk about football really quick.
Okay.
I think football's incredibly extreme because it's so popular. It's amazing how popular it is. People watch the Super Bowl more than they watch like any of the presidential inaugurations.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And football is like, this is why it's so extreme. And we can almost segue this back to advertising, because football they must have the most extreme marketing approach, because for a game that is so incredibly average, it has like the love and heart of most of the country. That's extreme.
That is extreme.
I'll give really the extreme credit to football fans. Football is so boring for all but 8 minutes in a 2 to 3 hour window, and the fans just stick with it, man.
Yeah. And they like riot. They'll like flow through the cities.
They'll tailgate.
Yeah. Do you think they like hate winning? Because like I've seen videos where like some football fans like
Like Eagles fans.
Yeah,
back
like
in
they
my
destroyed the
hometown of
city.
Philly. They go nuts when they win. It's almost like they're just pissed that it's over.
which
or something.
that's pretty extreme.
That's really extreme. But that's
the fans.
That's fans. So I mean, football going, that could be a sport, but I guess it's not quite it.
Do you think we need some help?
I mean, do you have any other points here? We're not landing on anything.
I feel like we're really hitting the full spectrum.
Well, we just can't agree. So clearly, even though we listed every single extreme sport known to man, we still can't really agree. So we're bringing in the most extreme guy I've ever met. You know him too, right?
Yeah. So just to lay some background, he and I have worked together, and he would literally wake up. First thing he'd do is go do some type of sport, something extreme. He would go before work.
I think he was going fishing. I remember
Maybe.
he saying there was something in ocean related. So if he comes in and he might argue my fishing case here.
I mean,
but
I feel like we hit on all the really big extreme ones. So like, you know,
I can't imagine there's anything left. But if there is, there's only one guy who's going to know. Honestly, he's so extreme. We are not worthy for him, but he decided to come anyway. Ryan, come on in. What's up, dude?
we are not worthy. We're not worthy.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey Ryan,
Good to
welcome
see you
to the
guys.
pod.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, thank you for thanking us for having you. Like, this is such an honor. So listen, we can't agree. We've gone down the list of like all of the extreme sports that we can think of, and we just can't land on the extremist.
We just can't agree. So what do you feel? So maybe lay some background for us, Ryan. What type of sports do you yourself do?
Well, so I love like sports that are like by myself, solo. Anything that's like solo, I consider
Yeah.
extreme
I
sports.
had no idea.
Like, you know, biters, you know,
I had no idea you were a loner.
Yeah. That's most extreme sports are like loner sports, you know?
That is pretty extreme
Yeah,
to
that
like
is pretty by
to be
yourself.
able to compete against yourself.
Yeah, it's
that's
like
okay. I
Mind
see where you're going with
mind
this.
versus your own mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mentality versus your own
I was talking
mentality.
about mind games before, so
Yeah.
like, okay.
So like,
Oh, yeah, that's-
wait.
yeah.
Does that mean like the SATs are extreme?
I'm thinking more like surfing, maybe. You know,
surfing.
like surfing is a pretty
what's-
extreme sport.
is
Sorry,
it-
what?
Are you talking about? Are you trying to say?
Are you talking about like where you like search stuff on the internet?
Yeah,
No, not like search Google bars.
because you would be alone doing that.
You know, surfing, like you're in the
That's-
water, like you're in the ocean or a body of
And
water.
what do you do there?
You're on a board and you're kind of getting into a wave.
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
You're kind of riding up and down the wave. It's pretty fun. You're by yourself. It's pretty meditative. It's pretty mindful.
Okay, that
Not mindfulness included.
all of that sounds like really relaxing. What's extreme about
Extreme is that you can go up to like 100-foot waves surfing.
You can
Like,
do that?
waves as big as mountains, as big as cathedrals, as big as the New York City skyscape.
But would
Yeah.
you ever say, okay, so I think I'm understanding what surfing is, but would you ever see a big wave and say, nah, I'm gonna run back to shore, sit on the beach, open my bag of dip, and then start chewing it?
Not at all. No. See, when you're in the water, you gotta surf the wave. You're one with the ocean. You're one with Earth, and you see a huge, let's say, 125-foot wave coming at you. The only option is to go and paddle into the wave to surf it.
Interesting. So when do you do the dip?
There's no dip involved. That might be a separate sport. That might be like highlighting or waterfall kayaking, but that's not a surfing sport.
Okay,
Right, because
that sounds
you
pretty
don't
extreme.
you don't dip in the ocean. You fully submerge yourself into
You're
it.
dipping your body into the ocean.
You're submerging.
So when you go out on the board, when do you cast your reel? Is I'm assuming fishing is involved in some sense.
There's
'cause
no
it's pretty-
reel. There's no reel. The reel is with your body is connected to the board. The body is the reel.
The body is the.
The body is the
Whoa.
reel connected to your board.
That's
And your legs are fish legs, aka they're just fins.
Okay, this honestly, I hear you, but this seems a little like this seems nice. This seems fun and relaxing.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound that extreme. Do you have any other examples?
I do a bunch of other extreme sports
Okay.
by myself. But before we get into that, have you guys ever heard of like here's a couple wave beaches, beaches with waves that I've surfed before.
Okay.
Nazare, 100-foot wave, Jaws,
No.
Jaws, Mavericks, Toto Santos, Teahupo'o,
No.
Shipstern Bluff,
No.
Puerto Escondido, and other beaches.
No way.
And don't forget the most famous ones: Surf Beach, Shark Beach, Swim Beach, which you can surf and shark in.
None of those.
And then my favorite is 3-inch wave beach. There's only 3-inch waves that come in.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that was a lot of nothing. I haven't heard of any of that. None of that even sounded like English.
So, wait a second. Hold on. Wait, Nick, what's this like large, almost oval, long-shaped board you have on your wall?
Yeah, Nick,
That's-
that looks.
That's a shelf I plan to eventually move my jazz trophies to.
But it's shaped like a surfboard.
What's a surfboard? Is that the thing you use to surf?
That's the surfboard. Yeah.
No,
That's an actual surfboard.
it can't be. It's a shelf.
But there's fins on it.
Wait, Nick, do you
Do you surf?
do you surf?
When I went to Rider Shack looking for home appliances and I said I need something to store my trophies, this was
Your jazz trophies.
my
right.
jazz trophies. This was the flattest, best thing that they had there, and he sold it to me, and I put it on my wall.
And
It's a shelf.
And you've never taken your shelf out to the ocean.
You never once submerged your board in the water, ever.
It's possible I may have. But that's only just because they say that shelves last longer when you let water absorb into the material.
And is that what's that black rubber looking? What
Is that Nick? Is that a butt plug sitting on that surfboard?
Let's get back to the extreme sports here.
Okay.
Well, you guys were wondering about like what other sports I do. Let me put on my sunglasses. I brought a list of casual extreme sports that I wanted to talk about.
Whoa, so cool!
Okay, so besides surfing, as I already mentioned, climbing, either free solo climbing, belay climbing, bouldering climbing, free ride mountain biking, freestyle mountain skiing and skateboarding, both on the mountain, parkour, highlining, waterfall kayaking, canyon swinging, where you're swinging below a canyon, running of the bulls, zorbing, blobbing, which is like you put a giant airbag in the middle of a body of water, have someone sit on one end, someone else jump on the other end, and send the person flying into the air. It's kind of wild. Barefooting, which is water skiing without skis, disc golf, mini golf, bar karaoke, extreme gardening, and the ultimate colonoscopy league.
Well, okay. First of all,
those are all my extreme sports.
I didn't realize we brought in a fiction expert, because the only one of those things that sounded real was zorbing, and I don't even know what that is.
Let me take off my sunglasses to try with you guys. Hold up. I can't see what that was.
Whoa!
Yeah. Zorbing is the most real extreme sport, but so are all the other thousands of sports that I mentioned.
And did you say... Okay, so you said a lot of really cool extreme sports that we may just have to agree don't exist. But one that I heard, Nick, and maybe you picked up on this too, colonoscopy?
Yeah,
get into that.
Explain.
It's probably the most extreme sport. You pretty much get a camera, like kind of like a tube-shaped camera, that's attached to a long cord, and you get it kind of shoved up, your rectum, and into your colon and into your body, and a bunch of doctors around you look at cameras on the live feed of your colon, and it's kind of wild.
So you're telling me that there are spectators, there's a person, and their body is performing an athletic feat, and it involves shoving something up your butt.
Yes to everything. Yes to all that.
What is the goal of this?
Pretty much you want like the cleanest colon possible, The
cleanest colonoscopy.
So, when these events happen, you're pretty much in front of, you're in front of like Staples Center, you're in front of like Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum.
Okay.
They have a whole field set up just for your colonoscopy, and there's 80 to 100,000 people watching the live colonoscopy procedure happening.
No way.
And you're just sitting in the center of the field, like on a chair.
I'm drugged. I'm sedated. Or I might have anesthesia going on.
Wait, hold on. You're hitting another element of extreme sports that we've been touching on. Drugs. So you're telling me you got drugs, you got spectators, you got fans who might be going wild, you've got a body, a muscle, and you've got a thing going up your butt.
Yeah. Also, they a lot of the doctors are chewing dip as well during the procedure. So I heard you guys mentioning dip a while ago.
We did mention
it's
dip.
It's a pretty popular sporter thing to do.
And you perform that sport?
I don't perform the sport. I mean, technically, I am the sport.
You're like the ball.
I am the ball in this sport. I am the ball in the sport. Yeah.
So is it a race? Like the colonoscopy is being performed on you, and then like what are people competing for or against? People
are competing for a clean colon,
which
a clean body part
would lead to a long
life
or short life. Yes. Long life if they catch something.
Yes.
So there's risk of something.
There is a risk of
there's
anything.
Stakes. There's stakes. And so ultimately these sporters are playing the game, and the result, like the end goal, is saving lives.
Whoa! Extreme.
There's like a drinking game in the crowd. Like people will like drink and chug their beers like for maybe like 20, 30 minutes for the duration of the sport until like they find out the results of the colon.
See, I was definitely skeptical when Cool Ryan showed up with those sunglasses and he was naming all those fake sports. But this sounds so believable in every aspect. Like, Nick, I think, did we do it?
Did we finally agree on something? The most extreme sport, colonoscopies.
I mean, all the other sports I mentioned are very real, but yeah, colonoscopy is a very extreme sport.
I believe that they're real. Extreme?
You have a surfboard hanging on your wall.
That's a shelf.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to go inspect this shelf, but I think for the first time ever, we agree. I think to participate in some extreme sporting myself, I am gonna get myself a colonoscopy. And I think you should too. I think all our viewers should, and maybe they should talk to their gastro and get a plan. We're just building awareness for extreme sports here on the Experts Podcast.
That's true, Jake. Sometimes the most extreme things in life could be the simplest life-saving choices. There's something there.
Sometimes the most extreme sports are extreme caution.
Sometimes the most extreme sports are the ones that examine your body.
Whoa. Well,
we'll leave it there.
That sounds really beautiful. Good. Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but
and sometimes the most extreme life-saving procedures are the ones that expand your ass.
Yeah.
But also your life expectancy.
I started the podcast like that, and you're ending it like that, and that feels like enough.
That's called opening and closing image.
Man, I need an expectorant for my nose to get rid of this ick. for the. I'm trying to think of it.
Okay, let's just.
no, I can't.
I think we're X'd out, dude.
I think we had an exceptional ending, and it's
time we exit this episode of Experts. See ya.